Pleasure belongs as much to life as breathing. If you want to share the good and the bad, then certainly good things have their place too. We shouldn't hold back, but live life to the full. Mutual enjoyment is something that, with full respect for the other, we have to live on.
Is het goed en dan wordt het slecht. Dat is iets waar je in volle respect voor mekaars eigenheid moet in durven doorgaan.
Well, I've always had the idea that if I take pleasure in things, I'll have to pay for it. It's often kept me from fully enjoying things. In the end, I came to the conclusion that these bad moments, or whatever you want to call them, that they'll come anyway, whether you take pleasure in life or not. There are always ups and downs. Why not enjoy the good moments to fortify yourself against the times when you feel low later on? I feel much better now.
If there are no words to express joy in the other, there are hands and eyes and lips to say it without using words. This contact between us is not disconnected from life. It is completely interwoven with it.
Maar het staat niet los van heel het samenleven. Als seks alleen de daad is, dan laat het over aan de goesting. Dus het seksuele leven, dat gaat verder dan alleen maar...
If sex only consists of the act, then you can't enjoy it properly. You just leave it completely to personal liking. Sexual life goes further than spending 10 minutes or 15 minutes or half an hour in bed with each other. It has to do with everything. Being aware of the other, giving attention to the other. If you want to be attentive to the other, then you make time for the other even when it's difficult. Then you show your commitment to the relationship in actions. If Irene is standing at the fireplace and is making coffee, and I come in from outside without touching her, then either I am not happy about something or she must think there is something wrong. It's almost instinctive for me to touch her. I have to feel her.
Dan denk ik, ja, er is iets. Er moet zijn, denk ik, er is iets. Het is bijna van... Het is bijna ingebouwd dat ik haar vastpak, dat ik haar moet voelen.
Als er geen seksualiteitsbeleving is gedurende...
If we don't have sexual intercourse for a time, then we know that we've grown apart.
Uit elkaar gegroeid zijn. En om terug daar...
In order to feel at home with each other, sexuality is necessary.
Ervaren is toen die seksualiteit nodig.
Making time and making an effort to find each other with our bodies is an important inducement to stay together. Sometimes the importance of sex is underestimated because we think our feelings for each other are obvious and don't need to be expressed.
Stimulans geweest om erin te zijn. Misschien dat mij te veel onderschat wordt of als zijn vanzelfsprekend misschien. En dat is ook iets waar dat je in groeit en waar dat je moet leren van vrij.
Sex is an area in which you grow and when you have to learn to behave naturally.
Ontdekt dat je op bepaalde momenten een streep...
You can't discover it all at once.
...is om de seks zelf...
Sometimes we're just looking for pure sex, and at other times we create great moments of encounter. Moments we can live on, moments that help us continue.
Bij voort kunt.
Eigenlijk wel een beetje zat ontwerpen.
I think it's always easier to look ahead. It's typical for human beings not to keep on seeing each other with new eyes. A man is not made to stay always with the same person. I think it's more natural for a man to look for other people, also in his relationships. No one teaches us how to live together, how to enjoy the richness to be had from living in a relationship. Yep, you can't get it in any other way than by actually living close to someone.
Often it's me who pushes, say, to open up the dialogue, to start a conversation if there's something to be said.
We had to learn to discuss things and to see the difference between feelings and impressions.
If I get drawn into what Leo's doing, then I'm often very eager to participate in it.
Not everything has to be spoken about, not at once anyway. You have to leave space for the other to work things out for themselves.
But at a certain moment, things do have to be talked about. It's not a condition, but we've often found that it's brought us closer to each other.
That's something I had to learn, to describe my feelings clearly. My feelings for other women, for instance, or the time I devote to the theatre. I always had difficulty expressing this clearly.
If things can't be said clearly, if you have to search around to express certain things or make them sound better, then I often say, just say it as it is, without embellishments, without fantasizing.
I think the most important part of our growth towards each other is not putting things on one side or avoiding them. Working through things, even if it causes pain, is essential.
Well, on a number of occasions I've said, I'm leaving. But it was only words, because I didn't really intend to leave. It was just a
threat.
Well, yes, it meant, well, for now I don't see any solution. It can't be otherwise, so I have to go.
Ik heb echt een duik genomen in theater. Daar zou ik heel veel voor opofferen.
I threw myself into the theatre. For that, I was prepared to give up a lot. I went to rehearse on Monday, on Tuesday, on Wednesday. I played on Thursday, on Friday, on Saturday, and on Sunday. So, when did I have free time? Irene went to work and came home when I had to leave, so our only communication was our leisure time on holiday and on Wednesday in the afternoon when she was free. But then the children took our time, so...
During the time Leo was away so much, we had a lot of conflicts, just because there was no time and no mood for getting into real communication. During the day I had to work, and in the evening there was still some homework and some work for school. In fact, I only had one desire, and that was to be with him, but it wasn't possible. Very often I was conscious of being left alone. Unconsciously, I was searching for some world of my own. It's not easy when you feel in love with someone else, when you're stirred emotionally by another person, because you always have to take the relationship with your partner into account. The outcome isn't evident. It calls for a deliberate choice. There was a time I felt my relationship as a limitation. I thought, my goodness, why did I ever settle down and marry? I can't do what I'd really like to do.
essentieel vastgezet. Ik kan hetgeen dat ik eigenlijk wel zou willen.
Verliefd worden op anderen en dus geen werk van gemaakt binnen een relatie.
Yeah, if you're in love with someone else, you're confronted with that. If you don't talk about it, if you don't work on it in your relationship, it starts to live its own life.
De keuze die dan
It'll lead to confrontation, or it blows up in your face.
in me wel doen groeien. In die zin dat ik,
Making the choice for my relationship with Leo made me grow. By talking about it, I started to be conscious of the fact that when you make a positive choice like that, you leave something else behind. It isn't bad to be sad about it, to grieve for what you left behind. It's natural. Each time you make a choice.
Maar dan gebeurde er eigenlijk
Then,
in
something happened in the world of theatre. There were conflicts in the group. The group began to fall apart because of their success.
Het uiteengroeien van de groep vanuit succes.
It was a fortunate coincidence that he began to realize that theatre wasn't the whole of life, just when I was beginning to quietly lose interest in him.
We have often hurt each other, but we've gained a lot from it because we've learned so much about our inner selves. There's no subject we can't talk about because we have explored everything. We were very lucky that things didn't go so far wrong as to separate us. Yeah, we've been lucky indeed.
Ze zijn open gegooid. We hebben alleen geluk gehad dat het niet zo ver gekomen is dat het ons uiteengebracht heeft. We hebben geluk gehad.
Ook in heel drukke periodes hebben we gezegd een weekend.
We've always made time for each other. In stressful moments, we've arranged a day or two, maybe a weekend, just for the two of us to be alone together. When the children were small, there were friends of ours who took care of the children, and they encouraged us to do it and said, "You need it." Often those days were oases of peace. We had time to talk, and now we say to every young couple, including our own children, on certain days you have to take time for each other.
Veel praten, veel vrijen.
Often we walk,
Dingen doen die we
talk,
graag doen,
make
zonder
love,
echt veel rekening
all
te
the things we
houden met,
like to do without having to take family or community into account.
de familie.
We say to everyone, sorry folks, this time is exclusively ours.
Spreken rond verwachtingen.
Communicating about our sexual expectations has grown. It's something we didn't do in the beginning. We didn't speak about our expectations or desires. We didn't say what we liked or didn't like regarding sex. It wasn't there at that time. When I look now, I say it is there, but not in such a way that we say, I want this or that when we make love. No, we simply say what we like in each other.
Als ik dan nu ga bekijken, dan zeg ik van, jawel, het is er wel aanwezig. Maar niet van te zeggen van, nu wil ik dat en dat. Bij wijze van spreken, nu wil ik dat standje en dat standje en dat is zeker niet. Maar gewoon van te verwoorden van hoe, welke deugd dat ding heeft aan de dingen, aan elkaar.
Uiteindelijk,
In fact, you can never understand completely what somebody else experiences. You can try to understand, but to feel the same, no. Well, I can't in the case of another woman. I certainly can't regarding another man. I can only express what something means to me. As for how it is for somebody else, well, I can listen and try to put myself in their shoes, but I'll never completely know what it is.
Het puurste geluk, het puurste genot, het puurste genieten.
Even after the purest happiness,
Ervaart je toch
after the
de
purest
eenzaamheid
pleasure,
in
after the purest enjoyment,
onmogelijk kunnen
you still feel a loneliness because you can't express how the innermost part of yourself experiences
Er
it.
zijn weinig dingen die waar dat wij hetzelfde in aanvoelen.
There are not many things in which we feel or think the same. We're very different,
Wij zijn heel
and that is maybe
toch blijft
what makes our
misschien wel
partnership
juist
great.